Today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, it's the culmination of our league season. Last week, the teams in both the Roswell Varsity and Roswell Junior Varsity decided their respective league team championships. Today, 10 kids compete for the individual titles in the biggest tournament of the year that many of them will bowl in. $3,000 in scholarship money is riding on the outcome of the matches you'll see here today in the Bowlero Roswell All-Star Varsity Tournament of Champions. Celebrating junior bowling, elevating junior bowlers. This is Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Live on tape from Bowlero Roswell in Roswell, Georgia. This is Coach Randy, welcoming you to episode 97 of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, the All-Star Varsity Tournament of Champions. Now, this could get confusing for some of our viewers, as Prodigy Bowlers Tour will be covering 3 different Tournaments of Champions. In 2 weeks, on June 2nd, we'll be at Bowlero Lilburn for the annual Georgia Youth Bowlers Tour, or GYBT, Tournament of Champions. 3 weekends later, on June 22nd, we'll be at AMF Woodstock for the Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions, where one winner will claim the coveted trophy pin that our weekly winners have been signing since August. But today, we're bringing you the Bowlero Roswell All-Star Varsity Tournament of Champions. This is the grand finale to our league season in the Roswell Varsity and Junior Varsity leagues. In this unique format, we use pins over average, so you don't have to be the best bowler to win. You don't even have to throw the highest scores. You just have to bowl the most pins over your average to win. On Saturday, 37 kids, 10 in our Junior Varsity League and 27 in the Varsity League, began the day in hopes of making it all the way to the end. To get there, they'd have to bowl 3 games on Saturday morning, where the field would then be cut in half to no fewer than 7 players. Then, those survivors would bowl 3 more games on Saturday, with their pins carrying over. At the end of that second set of 3 games, we cut the field to the top 5 in both divisions, and those players were invited back the following day, Sunday, May 19th, and they're all here today to compete for scholarship money and 2 awesome trophies. So, let's meet our 10 finalists. First, in the Junior Varsity Division, our 5th place qualifier is Samuel Anderson. Samuel is 7 years old. He just finished 4th at the Pepsi tournament last month in the U8 boys division. Sam's entering average is 111, and after 6 games, he stood at plus 91. He'll meet our number 4 qualifier, Margot Gordon. Margot is also 7 years old. She joined our league midway through the season and qualified for the Pepsi tournament on her first day of bowling league. Her entering average is 65, and after starting with a 103 in her opening game, she just kept cranking out games in the 80s until she amassed a total pinfall that put her at plus 117. The winner of that match will face our number 3 qualifier, Hunter Moffatt. This promising 11-year-old has the highest average in the Roswell Junior Varsity League at 164. So no matter who he faces today, he'll be spotting them pins. You want to talk about clutch bowling? Hunter got to the 3rd game of the first round in last place and needed a big 3rd game just to survive the first cut. That's when he dug deep and shot a 214 game to move from 10th up to 6th, well inside the cut line. He would later bowl a 220, sandwiched between a couple of 170 games in the 2nd round, to qualify 3rd. He finished his 6 games at plus 119. If Hunter could go all the way today, he would become the winningest player on Prodigy Bowlers Tour this season. The winner of that match will climb the ladder to face our number 2 qualifier, Rowan Sautner. Rowan is wrapping up his first season bowling youth league. This 10-year-old finished 4th at the Pepsi in April in the U10 boys division and is no stranger to Prodigy viewers. Rowan's entering average is 147, and in the second set of 3 games, he uncorked a 199 and a 191 game, pushing him up the leaderboard into second place with a total of plus 160. The winner of that match will bowl for the championship today against our tournament leader, Josh Greenberg. Josh came to Open Bowl one Saturday last year and spotted Charlie Bostic, who he'd seen before watching Prodigy on YouTube, and he was starstruck. He pretty much made up his mind that day that he wanted to bowl in our league, and here he is today, 1 game away from winning the All-Star Varsity TOC in the JV division. Josh bowled consistently over his entering average of 119, with 144 being his lowest game. He just ran away from everyone, finishing with a total of plus 232, 72 pins above second place. One of those 5 bowlers will win the $450 first prize scholarship award in the Junior Varsity today. And over in the Varsity division, our number 5 qualifier is John Schlick. John is completing his second season bowling league with us. John was pretty raw when he started bowling with us last year, and I worked with him a bit, urged him to convert to two-handed, and he's been steadily improving ever since. His entering average is 140, and by the time he finished his 6th game yesterday, he was plus 121. John will face our number 4 qualifier in the varsity, Alison Mcgowan. Alison came over from Cherokee Lanes to bowl league with us mid-season, and in yesterday's qualifying round, she got off to the fastest start of anyone, opening with a 246 game and held steady from there. Alison's entering average is 159, and she completed qualifying at plus 130. The winner of that opening match will bowl our number 3 qualifier, Chauhan Donaldson. Now, I don't root for or against anyone in these events we cover on Prodigy, but Jajuan was my pick to win this one. Why? Because he started slow this season, as his entering average of just 129 would attest. But about a month ago, he got a new piece of equipment with a grip that actually fits his hand, and a couple of things we've been trying to teach him finally started to click. He's been steadily bowling 170s and 180s, and he just seemed to me to be one of the main players to watch in this event. He stands at plus 130, tied with Alison, but he won a 2-frame roll-off to seize the 3 seed. The winner of that match will go on to bowl our number 2 qualifier, Mikey Kabrinsky. This 17-year-old has just graduated high school and will be off to college this fall. So this is his last chance to win this event. 3 years ago, he finished 2nd to Logan Fossum, and last year, he needed a mark in the 10th frame of the semifinal match to advance to the championship match, but left the 2-8-10 and had to settle for 3rd. Last week, his team won the league championship, and he would love to make it a clean sweep. He brings an entering average of 189 into the tournament, where he stands at plus 141 after 6 games of qualifying. And the winner of that semifinal match will bowl for the championship against our tournament leader, Jake Bowling. Jake got off to a fast start with a 233 in his opening game in round 1. Then, in the opening game of round 2, this 17-year-old seized the lead with a 264 and never looked back. He's won under the stare of the Prodigy camera before, having captured the 2017 Thanksgiving Turkey Shootout with his JV partner that year, Jake Malik. Today, he is 1 game away from winning $900 in Smart Scholarship money. Here's the complete purse breakdown. As you see, even the 5th place finishers will leave with something, and our winners will bank a nice little prize. All cash prizes are paid out as Smart Scholarship awards. We'll bowl both the JV and varsity matches together on the same pair of lanes simultaneously. So here we go with match 1 between our 5 seeds and our 4 seeds in both the junior varsity and varsity divisions. We'll bowl league style with the JV players going first on each lane and the varsity players going second on the 2 lanes. The higher-seeded players have the choice of starting lanes. Now, since this is strictly a pins over average event, once we're down to these head-to-head matches, that means it is effectively a 100% handicap. So the players in each match with the lower average will receive handicap equal to the difference between the 2 players' averages. So here in our opening match, in the junior varsity, Samuel has an average of 111, while Margot has an average of 65. That's a difference of 46 pins that Margot will be receiving. And in the varsity, John has an average of 140, while Allison's average is 159. So John will be receiving 19 pins of handicap. As is customary on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, we'll add the players' handicap pins into their scores in the very first frame, so you won't have to add a thing. Margot had the choice. She wants to start on the right lane. Samuel crosses over, leaves a 9. Margot with her opening toss gets 8. And now Samuel for the spare. And he covers the 9 pin. Well, Margot with this two-handed delivery, that's what the USBC calls it. Looks like a basketball pass off the chest. It's called the two-handed delivery. And it is very useful sometimes for little kids just starting out. All right, John comes up a little light, leaves the 2-4. And now we get our first look at Alison. And she comes in thin and leaves a split 2-4-10. And look at this. John runs past the 2-4 and gives an opening to Alison. And John's 19-pin lead, thanks to his handicap, is gone just like that. Down to just 7 pins. But Allison's going to give some of it back after an open on that split. So John's lead is back to 18. All right, Margot will head over to the left lane and take off running. Mixes them up a bit, gets 6. And we see Samuel's ball sail off to the right a bit, and that is a tough way to get just 4 pins right there. He leaves the 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9. Shoot it like a strike. Better get up. You tried to. And Margot misses her spare on the left, so a couple of opens. Now, Margot's 46 pins of handicap were added into her score in the first frame. She had 8 that frame, so 46 plus 8 is 54. And then 6 more in the second frame. She has 60 in the second. And now John Schlick on the right lane. And he hits the pocket, solid as can be. And a strike in the second frame. In the pocket for Alison, but it just doesn't quite drive the 5 over into the 7, so she leaves a single pin spare. She got here early today to get a little practice in before all this started. And she was having some difficulty with left side spares, getting the ball to get far enough to the left. All right, there's 7 for Margot. Looks like that practice paid off for Alison. She gets the 7. And now Samuel will be ready to go on the left lane. Most of the coaches think this little guy's going to be pretty good when he gets bigger. Crosses over, gets 9, leaves the 6. And Margot's spare attempt misses to the left. Samuel will move left and go cross lane at the 6. But that one hooks a little bit, and he misses it on the left. Well, these little people are still learning how to convert spares. They're both very young. There's a light one for Alison, leaving the 2-5. And now John with a strike up. And put some distance between himself and Alison with another strike. And there it is. And suddenly he has a 30-pin lead. Oh. Well, a little overcorrection. I mentioned she was having trouble getting those left side spares, having a hard time getting the ball to get far enough left. She may have guided that one a little bit to get it up and chop the 2 off the 5. All right, Samuel. And Margot's attempt at a strike misses the head pin left. She leaves the 1-3-5. Samuel with a little easier spare, I'd say. But he misses it on the left. So that's 7 out. Well, it looks like Margot's tendency is to miss left. So far, that's where all our misses have been. But it's not how high you can score, it's who scores more. John waving on Alison. That's more like what she was looking for, as she rips the 5 over into the 7 for a strike. Well, that one doesn't quite get up. And a 7 count for John. A little unconventional, his approach. He's still learning. Here's Samuel. He gets a piece of the head pin, throws a bunch of them over at the right side of the rack, but leaves the 10 as John misses his spare, and that's another open. So that'll trim his lead over Alison. And once again, Samuel having a hard time getting that ball to stay to the right, shooting those corner pins. He would probably do well to move a little farther left, open up the lane, go a little more cross lane. Margot once again missing to the left. You know, she's always thrown the bowling ball this way, so it's hard for me to say for sure if she's dominant right hand or left hand, but if she's right-handed, and I suspect she might be, that may account for why she keeps missing left. The right hand a little more powerful than the left, giving it a little more force when she does that two-handed delivery. The right hand tends to overpower the left, but look at this. She gets the spare as John whiffs the 2-pin. Well, you can't be doing that. So now Alison with a golden opportunity to shave the lead down to just 3 if she can put a double on the board right here. But no. Comes up light. And now she's got the 2-4-5. She chopped the 2 off the 5 a while ago. Back in the 3rd frame on this same lane. She will probably make about a 1-board adjustment to the left with her feet. And maybe she moved 2 or 3 boards, but it was too much, whatever it was. And that's what we saw in warm-ups earlier. The ball not getting up for those left side spares. So she's going to have to sort that out, and fast. Samuel in the pocket leaves the 5. As Margot, not waiting, hits the light shaker 7-10. What kind of a deal is that? Samuel takes care of the spare, no problem, but he's got some ground to cover. Trailing Margot by 45, her lead is going to shrink a little here, unless a miracle happens, and it's not to be. Instead of a spare, she gets a field goal. And her lead is down to 33. Now John, up on the right lane. Well, he almost got the Brooklyn to carry, but the 7 just laughs at him. Pretty good shot there, but it comes up thin again. This time she leaves something she won't chop. The 2-pin. And John once again missing an easy spare. Well, there's probably a reason why he's a 140 average, right? When you're averaging 140 and below, it means you're not the best spare shooter in the world. There's a spare for Alison. We stress spares with these kids all the time. When you're at this level, there is nothing that will raise your average faster than to become a better spare shooter. Nothing. Sam breaks down the split. And look at this, Margot gets them all to go. And she gives a wry smile to her parents who are looking on. All right, Samuel for the 2-pin. Well, it's a good thing he used the big ball. But that is a spare, and he needs more of those, and maybe a little help from Margot before this is all over. John cuts through the nose, leaves the 3-6-10. And look at this, Alison with a strike in the 7th, rips the rack. And that's just to send a message to John that she's not going anywhere. That's a good conversion by John. And now Samuel. Boy, he could use a strike here. But it deflects around the 5, and he leaves the 5-8. I don't know what weight ball he's throwing, but at age 7, I suspect it's no more than 8 or 9 pounds. Oh, and it just hooks by the 5. As Margot goes a little high and leaves the 6'10". Lucky she didn't leave a split. But she's in the driver's seat in her match, leading by 47. Meanwhile, in the varsity match, John with a 16-pin advantage. He's going to wait and let Margot go, I believe. Well, she's got the right idea. You can tell. There's a good strike by John. You can tell with these little kids if they've got the right idea pretty early on. If they don't have a picture in their head of what it is they need to do, you'll see the ball everywhere. But Margot's just needs to grow. Look at this, a wall shot by Alison, and that double just cut the lead of John down to 6 pins. So our varsity match is probably going to go down to the 10th frame. Margot just misses the head pin, leaves the 1-2-4. And Samuel goes through the nose, and a little unlucky. That could have broken up, but instead he leaves the 3, 6, 7, 10. Got to put the ball over on the right side of the 3, slide it over into the 7. But he gets too much of the 3. Margot gets too much of the head pin and chops the 2 off the 4, so they both have an open frame. But look at this, Margot has just won the match with that 9 count. The best Samuel can shoot is 131. Margot's already got 137 in the 9th. So she will be moving on to face Hunter Moffatt in the next match. Another light hit for Alison. She sure could have used another strike right there. That would have been to take the lead. John wide of the mark, leaves the 1-2-8. Well, Alison cannot afford any more mistakes. She needs to find a way to fit this ball between the 2 and 5. But it's wide again and another open frame. Oh, but look at this. John's gonna gift her an open frame of his own. And so their match is gonna go down to the 10th frame, just as I suspected it might. All right, Samuel, finish strong, buddy. Ooh. Well, that light ball just doesn't drive through like one that's got a little more weight. But you know what? Until they're old enough and big enough and strong enough to handle the extra weight, going up in weight now would be counterproductive. Better to have a ball you can handle. It's an open frame for Samuel in the 10th. He shoots 110. That's just a pin off his average. But Margot is going to end up either in the 140s or 150s. With the 46 pins of handicap, she was given this match. That is going to find the gutter, and she will end up with a 145 with the 46 pins of handicap, so she shoots a 99 scratch. It's good enough. She's moving on. But who in this match is going to move on? Boy, there's a good one by John. That means Alison is going to need to double. But that is light, so now the best she can do is 155. Technically, John has not won the match yet, but he's at 152. He needs 4 pins in 2 balls. I like his chances. And there it is, the game winner. So it's John and Margot, who we will see in the next match. And once again, Alison, she's going to have to work on that spare. Just enough. That's why they paint them, as we say. And that is a win for John, Schlitz, and Margot Gordon. They will face the number 3 seeds next.
A bowler's greatest enemy, lane conditions. Difficult, changing, unpredictable. But there's a ball that handles it all. The AMF angle. Urethane control. Urethane hitting power. Devastating on any lane condition. #1 winner on the Winter Pro Tour 3 years in a row. Don't be left in the past. Hundreds of thousands of bowlers have chosen the black angle to get better scores. The AMF black angle at bowling pro shops only. The angle strikes again.
The new XS from AMF. It will destroy your old notions of what hook and hitting power can be.
Alison kept scratching and clawing and made it close, but at the end, one too many missed spares cost her, and John slammed the door. Meanwhile, in the JV division, Margot and all her handicap just proved too much for Samuel to overcome. That little guy is going to be quite a bowler when he gets bigger, but he's not quite there yet where he can uncork a big game when he really needs one. But I'll tell you who's going to need one right now. As we move into match 2, Hunter Moffatt and his league-leading average of 164 means he's going to be spotting Margot Gordon a boatload of pins. While over in the varsity division, Chauhan Donaldson makes his first appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour in almost 2 years. This young left-hander has started to take some big steps forward in just the last 4 or 6 weeks. It remains to be seen if what he's learned will hold up under this sort of pressure. As for the exact handicaps in this match, Hunter's 164 average is 99 pins higher than Margot's 65. So he'll be spotting her 99 pins this match. He'll have to summon up one of his best games if she throws something north of her average again. And in the varsity division, it's John who'll be spotting Jajuan some pins this time. John has an average of 140, while Jajuan's average is 129. So Jajuan will be getting 11 pins handicap. As always, we'll add their handicap pins into their score in the very first frame, so you won't have to add a thing. Oh my goodness. Margot hits light in the right-hander's pocket and leaves the 4-8-10. And Hunter, with a light hit, gets them all to go. So Margot, I would tell you just get a couple of them here if you can. I think she's gonna. All right, there you go. Take the count. And now Jajuan. We haven't seen him on Prodigy in a while. And he tilts out the 5. Nice strike to start. And there's a light shaker by John as well. So we go back to the top of the order now. Margot, as you recall, getting 99 pins. 9 out in the first frame. We added the 99 to that, so she has 108 in the first frame. There's something you don't see on a bowling score sheet every day. And all the body English in the world is just not going to get that ball to come back. She gets 3. And Hunter off and running quickly this match with a double out of the gate. He's got a lot of ground to cover. Margot going for her spare. Well, a little overcompensation, I'd say. So that's 3 out as Jajuan gets up in the second frame. Well, his ball in the first frame just had enough on it to tilt out the 5. I thought he might have thrown it a little too hard, and he definitely threw that one too hard, as the ball never had a chance to read the lane. It just kind of glided down the lane and deflected when it got to the pins. There's a strike by John as he tiptoes to avoid fouling. There's a spare by Jajuan. We should mention that if you foul even on an adjacent lane, it still counts as a foul. You can't stand on or beyond the foul line, or it counts the same as a gutter ball. There's a strike for Hunter in the third. A turkey to start. The foul line runs effectively all the way around the world. You can't touch the wall beyond the foul line. You can't touch the floor. If you step on the catwalk next to lane 1 or lane 40 in this house, the end lanes, you cannot step on or beyond the foul line anywhere. Just a pinch high by Jajuan. And that is going to miss. So, another open frame from Margot. And her 99 pin advantage is down to 40 already. Good spare by Jajuan. You see, we added his 11 pins into his score in the first frame. How about a love tap on the 10 for the 4-bagger? And I imagine Hunter will take it. Well, as I mentioned, he's got, oh, wait a minute. John was up on the left lane. Sorry, Hunter. We're going to have to take that one off the board. You were not up on the left lane. Margot just bowled on the left lane, and then Hunter bowled and skipped John. So that strike by Hunter, we will remove it from the score sheet. There you go.
So is that correct?
And it's as if that never happened. Hate to waste them like that. But now it's John who's up. He's like, I'm not wasting anything. And now Margot on the right lane gets 8. Well, let's see if that little change in the rhythm of the game has any effect on Hunter, who looked to be right in rhythm. Oh, man! A stone 7. You can't throw it much better than that. Well, this time Margot just barely misses to the right, so 9 out. Her lead is 30, assuming Hunter converts the spare. I wouldn't expect Hunter to have a problem with a 7-pin. And now John, up on the right lane, perfect through 3. And leaves a ringing 10. So Jajuan up on the left lane. And there's a solid strike in the 4th for Jajuan. Oh, man. John's ball just held on enough. Now the bowling lane is 39 boards wide, and you might as well use them all. Hunter's going to wait for Margot. Uh-oh. Well, that one drops off into the moat. And Hunter got that one a little too wide. We're bowling on the house shot. This is the same condition they typically bowl on for league. And he got that one a little wide. It got into the dry a little too soon, started rolling early. Margot with 3 out, so that's going to be costly as her lead dips to 14 now. As Hunter takes care of the 4-pin. So I'd say Margot's going to have to get busy, or Hunter's going to catch her. He looks like he is on a mission. Just a little high for John. That was almost a 4-9. Lucky to break it down, and now just the 9-pin. Jajuan on a strike. And this time he gets that light hit to carry on the right lane. Gets a double and takes the lead. Uh-oh. John gets that one a little too far to the right. He's throwing plastic at that spare, and it does not come back. Hunter almost bowled on the wrong lane. But he is up on the left. Uh-oh. As many pins as he's spotting Margot, he can ill afford open frames. Margot trying to nod her head to see if the ball will listen. It doesn't. She leaves the 1-2-7. All right, Hunter grabs his spare ball. He'll move his feet slightly to the left. And he gets the 5-7. That's definitely worth a second look. And that is perfectly executed. Margot's spare attempt drifts off onto the gray board. And that's 7 out. And now she is clinging to just a 3-pin lead. Oh boy. Jajuan leaves the left-hander's version of what Hunter just made. He's got the 5-10. And John finds the hole. All right, Jajuan, move your feet 3 boards to the right. Throw that thing right over your strike target at the arrows, and you're going to be in the ballpark. Well, it just hooked a little too much. So he gets too much 5-pin. That's an open, and now John has the lead back by 1 pin. And Hunter right back to his striking ways. But it's Margot who still leads. If she can just get a couple of spares along the way, maybe Hunter will make a mistake somewhere. How about this one? All right, a 4-7. She can make that. Look at that one. Jajuan slaps out the 7-pin. Gets a solid strike in the 7th. Boy, if he could get a double in the 8th, that would be huge. How about it, Margot? There's a spare. She could make this thing interesting at the end. Got a couple of close matches here. Now John, working on a strike, can extend his lead to 11. But instead, goes through the nose, and now he's got one of the more difficult non-split, non-washout spares you can leave. The 3, 6, 9, 10. And he was about to go, but now I thought he might wave Margot up. Oh, man. That looked like it was going to miss left, but he gets it. And what a bad break. The 3, 6, 7, 9 for Margot. On a light Brooklyn hit. That's pretty unusual for someone who throws it with that two-handed delivery. Effectively a straight ball. A little high by Hunter, leaves the 4. But he takes the lead with the count. And Margot's ball falls off harmlessly in the pit without knocking anything over. So Hunter now with a 15-pin lead with 2 frames left to go. Hunter still got second ball in the 8th frame to throw. Pretty routine spare for him. 4-pin, down, no problem. All right, John up on the right lane. Look at that thing make a left turn. And he slaps out the 10 and maintains his 1-pin lead. Now Jajuan, if he can figure out this left lane, he can take the lead. But instead it goes wide and trouble. Washout. The 1, 3, 7, 9. And it's too late in the match to be having open frames. He needs to make it. Light for Hunter. And he leaves a tricky little cluster. The 2, 4, 5. All right, Jajuan taking dead aim. But the ball doesn't get up quite enough. And that's an open 9 out. And John takes a 13-pin lead with just the 9th and 10th left. Hunter takes care of the spare, gives it a little fist pump. Margot. Just 3 on her first ball. You would think she's going to have to spare. There's a solid strike for Jajuan. Boy, he would have liked to have had that one in the 8th. Margot. That one is going to miss left, and she's going to lose a ton of count. And that gives Hunter a 29-pin advantage. The best she can do is 194. He's sitting at 183 right now if he doesn't knock down another pin. Ooh, John breaks up the 4-6. That could have been a game changer right there. But instead, he leaves just the 4. What a break. Gotta have some of those. Oh, but look at this. He whiffs it. So it might just as well have been a 4-6. He goes 9 out, maintains just a 1-pin lead over Jajuan. And Margot gets 9 and a wiggle. And now Hunter just needs a couple of pins. There's a game winner right there. Hunter will be moving on to the next match. And Margot with 9 out. She's going to finish with a 173, counting her 99-pin handicap. It's not going to be enough. Hunter needed a big game, and he got a big game. He's going to be 213 with a conversion on the fill ball. Now, John, no matter what he does, he can't shut out Jajuan. He gets a Brooklyn strike to start the 10th. The best he can do is shoot 205. Jajuan can get to 214 with 3 strikes in the 10th. And that's a 213 for Hunter. Just when he needed it. So it's going to be Hunter and Rowan next in the JV. And how about a key double in the 10th? That forces Jajuan to get the first one. He must strike on this ball or John wins. Light. And that's gonna do it. John's already got 195. The best Jajuan can do now is 194. John is moving on. And he gets them all. That's a 205 and a good game by John. Jajuan covers his spare. So he can finish with 194. Now remember, he was getting 11 pins. That's added in, so that would be a 183 scratch if he were to strike here. And as I mentioned, he's been doing this a lot ever since he got this ball that actually fits his hand. Well, that's not the way he wanted to finish the game, but it really doesn't matter. This one got away from him. It is Hunter and John who are moving on to the semifinal match. They will face Rowan Sautner and Mikey Kabrinsky when we return after this.
Never could give up unless never thought you tried to get this right. Cinnamon riddling, rising out of North Grams. Woke up in a dream that didn't feel right, begging for another game.
This is the Prodigy Bowlers Tour television network. Well, both of those matches were close, and they both were decided in the 10th frame. Hunter overcame a 99-pin handicap he was spotting Margot, and he aggressively chipped away at it from the very beginning of the match. And over in the varsity division, Jajuan put up a strong fight, but came up just a little short. He lived up to his billing as a player who's been consistently out-bowling his average lately, and I think he has reason for optimism about his bowling next season. But now we move on to match 3, the semifinal match in these two divisions. In the junior varsity, Hunter Moffatt now takes on Rowan Sautner, and in the varsity, John Schlick has advanced to face Mikey Kabrinsky. Now, as far as handicap is concerned this time around, Hunter's average is 164, while Rowan's entering average is 147. That's a difference of 17 pins that Hunter will be spotting Rowan. And in the varsity, Mikey ended the season with an average of 189. That's 49 pins higher than John's 140 average, so John will receive 49 pins. We'll add those handicap pins into Rowan's and John's scores in the first frame, so you won't have to add a thing. Oh boy, what a way to start. Rowan chose the right lane to start on, and that's a fine how do you do. The 5-7. Well, Hunter made it in the last match. Let's see what Rowan can do with it. And look at this. He says, anything you can do, I can do better. Watch this one. Plastic ball, just the way Hunter shot at it. Looks like a replay of the one that Hunter did. This time Hunter's strike attempt goes wanting. The 6-pin wraps around the 10, and he leaves that pesky corner pin. These two have bowled each other so many times on Prodigy this year. You wouldn't guess there's a 17-pin differential in their average. Look at this. Hunter whiffs the 10-pin. Not like him. And he hands Rowan a bigger lead to start. Mikey waves on John. And John says, "Thank you very much. I'll get a strike with it." And Mikey comes in a little thin with that one, leaves the bucket. A 2.458. Well, we haven't seen Mikey on Prodigy much this year. He is pretty busy with his schoolwork most of the time. Very studious young man. Ooh, takes the scenic route for the spare and chops the 2 right off the 5, so that's an open to start, and John opens up a 60-pin lead. Rowan wide with that one. So you know that a spare in the first frame and then 8 would give you 18, but we've added his 17 pins handicap in. And look at this. A split, a 6-7-10 for Hunter. Rowan just gets the spare. And now Hunter will have to dig deep for this one. The 6-7-10. Oh, he gave it a ride. But that's back-to-back opens to start. And he's given Rowan a huge head start. I don't think Mikey liked that when you heard him go, ah. But it held pocket. I think he believed that he had pulled it. And look at this. John with a double out of the gate. And now the lead is 70, and Mikey hasn't even caught his breath yet. That's more like what Hunter's looking for. Hey, the match is young. There's a lot of frames left. Can't give up too quick. What a break! Rowan knows he got away with one that time. They all came crumbling down. And John is on fire to begin this semifinal match. Mikey's got a tiger by the tail. He's down by 80 in the third frame. Well, you could tell he didn't like that one either. He knew it was going to be high. Leaves the 4. At least it's an easy spare. Now Rowan working on a strike. How about a second strike? And that increases his lead to 47. Mikey covers the 4-pin. But he's not going to get it done with spares, and he knows it. He's going to have to string some strikes. Six-pin for Hunter. Crosses over. You heard Mikey urging that one on. And that was solid in the pocket. Hunter with a spare. But he needs strikes, and I think he's just gone to the rack for another ball. He's been throwing his pitch black. He just got this high road. There's another strike by John. 4 in a row out of the gate. Well, Hunter's going to have to get used to that high road because it does have a strong snap on the back end. Unlike his pitch black, but you got to allow for it. 4-7. He throws the pitch black at that one, knowing it's not going to get away from him. And now Rowan working on a double. And he makes it 3 in a row. And he's running away from Hunter. Well, that time, John just threw it too wide. That one got out to about the 3 board, and it kind of hung out there. There's a little hang spot if you get it too wide out there. And that looked like it was going to be left, but that's a plastic ball. It won't hook. So he gets the spare, but a slight opening for Mikey. And he needs more of those. Well, this time Rowan goes high, and now he's got a split, the 3-10 baby split. Maybe just the break Hunter needed to sneak in here and try to make a match of this. No, that's that high road again. He's just not getting enough push, not borrowing enough to the right. And look at this guy. Rowan has suddenly become a trick shot artist. That's 2 splits this game. He's made them both. Hunter converts the 3-6-10. Can't give up, though. There's still 4 frames left. I've seen stranger things happen. John through the nose and leaves a tricky one. The 3-6-9. Mikey's going to the whip now. That's a turkey, and the lead is down to 65. And John converts the 3-6-9. Hunter's going to need some strikes. And he's gone back to his pitch black, and that's why the pitch black is sometimes a problem. It just doesn't quite give you the snap on the back end to carry out the corner pins. There you go. Rowan knows all about it. He's got a urethane in his arsenal. He's throwing his tropical. And very un-Hunter-like. Lets one slip off into the gutter, and an unforced error, and Rowan with a huge lead, 72 pins with just 3 frames left. Soft 10 for John. And as long as Mikey can keep striking while John doesn't strike, Mikey can keep shrinking that lead a little bit. Oh, and look at this. He's going to get a little help from John, an open frame. Mikey can get to within 43 with another strike. just a pinch high. That's going to be left. Lucky to get 9 on that one. But you would think Rowan has pins to burn. Mikey goes slow at his left side spares to hook it. Rowan with an open frame whiffs the 7. His lead is down to 60. But even still, he's in a commanding position. I was going to say the best Hunter could do is 191, but now the best he can do is 181, and Rowan already has 181. So all Rowan has to do is keep the ball on the lane his next time up. That's not what Mikey wanted. Now there's a spare for Hunter, so he stays in it mathematically, but I think he knows the writing is on the wall. Rowan's going to put an end to this in just a moment. And there's a 2-pin for John, as suddenly he has found himself in no strike land. After starting with a 4-bagger. Oh, look at this. He whiffs the 2-pin. He's not just in no strike land, he's in no mark land. As Mikey covers the 6, 9, 10, so even without continuing to strike, he continues to gain ground on John. Well, Hunter had to have that, but it's going to be academic here in just a second. Rowan needs 1 pin to lock it up. I think that'll do it. With that split, Hunter knows the score. He just congratulated Rowan. I don't think Rowan realizes he just won the match. On the score sheet they're looking at overhead, the handicaps are not added in. But Rowan, you can rest easy, buddy. You are bowling for the championship in the next match. It's a 9 count for John. Look at this guy. Takes a run at the 4, 7, 10. He didn't need it. John measuring boards here. And he runs by the 7-pin. That's 3 9 opens in a row. And that breathes life into Mikey's chances. It'll take a miracle, but there's one. Mikey can shoot 225. And what's the likelihood of John not getting 6 pins in the 10th frame? Probably not much, but you never know. A foul hits his ankle, something. Rowan with the spare in the 9th, so he's going to be 200 plus with the handicap that he was given. There you go, Hunter. Got that high road to yield a strike. Rowan is going to finish with a 207, and that is going to be enough. Well, he's seen that movie before. 10-pin. So a possible 170. I think he knew it was going to take more than that. There's a strike for Mikey. He's still got that 225 possible. And Hunter misses the 10 pin, so it's going to be a 169. And you just got to wonder if maybe he just left it all out on the lanes, trying to overcome the 99 pin handicap that Margot had in the previous match. But whatever is the case, he bowled well to get here. And there's another strike by Mikey. So he's going to be in the 220s at least. So he forces John to show up. Now I got to tell you, John has been known to foul every now and then. He does a lot of hopping around at the foul line. Well, that's the way to finish. It's a 225. It probably won't be enough, but that's why they play the games, as they say. And that is the winning ball right there. So John and Rowan are moving on to the championship match. Rowan to face Josh, and John to face Jake. And he gets the love tap on the 10. So if he gets the third strike, he would finish with a 250. So even with his 49 pins of handicap, he would have at least shot a 201 scratch. That's nothing to sneeze at. John's high game in league this year was 228. And there it is, a 250 with the handicap. It's John Schlick to face Jake Bowling, Rowan Sautner against Josh Greenberg for the titles.
Your turn.
I'm just not very good at this.
Yeah, it's just like that other game you played.
Golf?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Nothing like golf, it's bowling. Sorry.
Don't get caught out of your comfort zone. Mitsubishi Electric Systems cool and heat individual rooms and zones throughout the house with no ductwork. Mitsubishi Electric Cooling and Heating. Live better. Go to MitsubishiComfort.com.
Wenn Bowling, dann richtig. Kosmos Bowling Arena.
You kind of have to wonder whether his match against Margot took a toll on Hunter. He got himself up for overcoming a 99-pin handicap deficit against her, and he may have suffered a mental letdown against Rowan. It's hard to stay that focused, shot after shot, game after game, when you know there's not much margin for error. But Rowan shot a 190 scratch against Hunter, and when you add in the 17 pins he was getting, it was just too high a climb for Hunter this time. And in the varsity, John's four-bagger right out of the starting blocks, plus the 49 pins Mikey was spotting him, put Mikey in a big hole early. To his credit, he made it look respectable, finishing with a 225. But John closed out his game with a turkey to put an exclamation on his 250 to 225 victory. So we move to the championship match, where Rowan Sautner will face Josh Greenberg and John Schlitz will square off against Jake Bowling. Josh just kept piling up the pins over average in our 6-game qualifier. The lowest game he bowled was a 144, which is 25 pins over his average. And Jake Bowling started strong with a 233 game in the first round, and then began his second round with the highest game of the tournament, a 264. In this match alone, there's $2,100 in scholarship money on the line, with $450 for first in the junior varsity and $900 for first in the varsity. So even if the kids aren't nervous, I can guarantee you the parents are. Now, as for handicap this match, Rowan's average is 147. Josh's average is 119. That's a difference of 28. So Josh will receive 28 pins handicap. And in the varsity, Jake's entering average is 178, while John's average is 140. The difference is 38, so John will be getting 38 pins handicap. As always, those handicap pins will be added to the player's scores in the very first frame, so you won't have to add a thing. Josh was very anxious to get started, and he leaves the washout to start. The 1-2-10, not what he had in mind for sure. He'll try to throw the 1 over into the 10. And just gets too much of the 1 pin. So an open to start. Now Rowan, his first ball of the match, on the left. And that pink and purple ball hooks high, and he leaves the 3-6-10. A similar hit for John, as the 10 goes out for him, just the 3-6. Rowan shows John how to do it. And John runs by the 3-pin. He should have paid closer attention to Rowan. So that open frame, John's handicap of 38, added to 9, gives him 47 in the first frame. Look at that big high follow-through by Jake. And a strike for Rowan in the second frame. He gets off to a fast start. I will tell you this, Jake and John are 2 of the most practiced players we have in our varsity league. Every time I go down to the bowling alley, I seem to see one of them or both of them practicing. Jake sometimes practices over at AMF Woodstock, but John's up at Roswell almost every time I go up there. What is this? The 2-4-5-7-10. No, I've seen the 2-4-5-10 before, but never with the 7. Jake through the nose, lucky to break up the split. Just the 4-7. All right, this can be made. Oh, man. He gave it a go. But the 10 just wiggled but wouldn't fall. And Jake hooks by the 4-pin. Look at this. Well, all of a sudden we're seeing all kinds of things left. The 3-4-7. Got to put the ball over on the right side of the 3, throw it over into the 4 and 7. I think Josh is going to go first. John's waving him on. he leaves something a little more reasonable, the 3-6. And John gets that plastic ball to hook by, and he whiffs the split. There's a spare for Josh. Well, the handicap pins were added in the first frame, so that's why you see the odd-looking scores in the first frame for Josh and John. There's a 9 count. Rowan up on the left. Crosses over. Leaves just the 10. That could have been just about anything. And John covers the spare. Let's see what Rowan can do with the 10 pin. Well, you see that he has developed a little kill shot, a little straight up the back, flatten out your wrist kind of shot for his right corner spares. So he has the right idea. He just missed it. All right, let's get a look at this high follow-through that Jake has gone to. This is a new development with his game. I like the idea of the high follow-through, but I wish he would stay down. You can't raise up like he's doing, or you'll tend to miss left. Speaking of missing left, Rowan misses the head pin left, leaves the 1-3-6. Jake going with his plastic ball for this double wood spare. I prefer a strike ball for this. And that's why. Something that hooks, gives you the whole right side of the front pin to hit, and it'll drive on through. Plastic deflects. There's a spare by Rowan. All right. Josh's lead down to 18. He needs to get busy. Well, he pulled that one well left. And he leaves the 1-2-3-5-10. Shoot it like a strike. Well, just a little thin on the head pin. Sends it in front of the 2. Well, when Jake rears up like that, he tends to miss left. And so far, all of his misses have been left. On first ball shots, anyway. John through the nose leaves the 3-6. This is a tricky little spare for Jake. And he goes with that plastic ball again. This time he gets flush on the front pin and chops it off the 6. I'm telling you, when you got double wood, you want to use a hooking ball. Gives you more area to hit. There's a spare for John. And look at this, right through the heart of the pins. And Josh with the 6-7-10. There's another big miss to the left, the 1-3-6. Again, I think we've seen this one before. Well, Josh gave it a good try. Just too much 6-pin. You got to cut that thing so thin to get it over into the 7. You risk missing it altogether. All right, Rowan. Yeah, this time he chops it. So an open frame, and that hands the lead back to Josh. A light hit by John on the right lane leaves the 7. He continues to have a commanding lead in their match, but only because Jake has 3 opens in a row. John with a spare. There you go. That's what Jake had in mind. And that's right in the pocket, but that lighter weight ball deflects and leaves the 5. But you know what? When you're in a high stakes match, you leave yourself easy spares. That's usually a good thing. Unless the scores are so high that you just got to strike every ball. I'd take this every time. And a conversion of the 5-pin, as you would expect. And now Josh on the left lane. And he leaves the fence, and he's starting to get frustrated. Maybe a little confused. And look at this, all of a sudden Jake has come to life. A double in the 5th and 6th. And that trims the lead to 36. As Josh hooks by the head pin and hands the lead right back to Rowan. Can't get frustrated, little guy. You just got to keep grinding. And there you go. That's what you get for your efforts. A high hit for John. The 310 baby split. Move left. Hit the right side of the 3. Let the ball deflect over into the 10. Now look at this. He's making a little adjustment. He made the right adjustment. Watch this one again. Little off balance when he let it go. He hops over to the right. If John would keep his shoulders back a little bit, not so far out over his toes, keep his feet under him, he'd be in balance more at the line. Ooh, that was almost an 8-10. But Rowan leaves just the 10. Now he missed it earlier. Let's see what he can do this time. The 1-2-4-8 goes. There, that's what Rowan had in mind when he shot that 10-pin earlier. And now Jake with a double working. John's lead down to 30. Jake can cut it to 20 with a strike here in the 7th. Oh, game on. He got off to a slow start, opens in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, but he's come roaring back with a turkey in the 5th, 6th, and 7th. And now we've got a 180 stop on both lanes. And now Josh can go on lane 5. Oh, man. He's got to be thinking, what do I have to do? That's about as good as you can throw it right there. Stone 8. quiet. Cannot afford to do that. It's getting late now. Well, we've still got this 180 stop on the right lane, lane 6. And I think there are some bowling balls back there, including John's. So we're not going anywhere until they clear the 180. So I'll just tell you, next weekend we're off, Memorial Day weekend, no Prodigy event. And then we'll be at Bowlero, Lilburn on June 2nd for the GYBT Tournament of Champions. Always a big, big event. And then we have a tentative road trip set for June 8th or 9th. I can't tell you where it is yet, but if it happens, you'll think it's awesome. Then we're off on June 15th. And the week after that, June 22nd, the Prodigy Bowlers Tour, Tournament of Champions, the mother of all stepladders, where someone will win the coveted trophy pin. The question is, will they give it away? And then the week after that, June 29th, we're back at Roswell for the adult youth Scotch doubles, 9-pin no-tap race to 300 on the house shot. This is always a fun event and kind of a Parents Appreciation Day. And you are welcome to join us. It's for everybody, young and old. Oh boy. Like calling timeout and freezing a kicker. John, 4 6s. Didn't affect Rowan, though. A strike for Rowan. John just takes the count, but he will surrender a chunk of his lead, and it's down to single digits. And Jake working on 3 in a row. He can take the lead with a strike here. There it is. After spotting John, 38 pins, he has moved out ahead. A light hit for Rowan leaves the 2. Josh still in this match. Don't give up. Just a little high, leaves the 4-7. It's going to come down to which one of these two can perform in the 9th and 10th. And now spares become super important. Don't be missing them now. Oh, he knows that was important. That gives Rowan a 28-pin lead if he can convert this. And he does. John with a 10-pin. Little foot stomping frustration. But he covers it. And this match is going to the 10th frame, I believe. Jake with a chance to put a little space between himself and John if he can carry a strike here in the 9th. But instead, he gave it a little extra juice at the bottom. It goes high, and he leaves the 3-6-10. Rowan with that 9 count puts him over the top, and he has won the Junior Varsity division. There's a spare for Jake, and the varsity match is dead even, heading into the 10th frame. I think Rowan has figured it out. Looking up at the score sheet, he knows he's got this one salted away. And he finishes with a 171 scratch. Josh is going to end up with 134, including his handicap pins. He's disappointed, I know. He wanted to go wire to wire. But it's just not to be. This time it's Rowan's tournament in the JV. And now John comes up high. Gets 7. And that count is going to give Jake a bit of an advantage here in the 10th frame. A spare. So with any sort of reasonable count here, John is going to force Jake to mark. Okay, he gets 5. Probably not what he wanted, but it's enough to force Jake to mark. Jake with an 8-pin lead. He needs to fill 13 pins in the 10th. He's on a spare. The 3 is not a problem. He needs a mark. Ten-pin. It all comes down to this. 31 weeks of league. Team stepladder finals last week. 6 games of qualifying leading up to this. He needs to make a 10-pin for $900 scholarship money. Oh, and it falls off into the gutter. And John has won the All-Star Varsity Tournament of Champions in the varsity. Give him a hand. That was thrilling. So there is a matter here of handing trophies out to our 2 champions. 1 to Rowan in the JV, 1 to John in the varsity.
They're your 2019 champions of the Tournament of Champions.
But there's still a little business left. We got to get them to sign the coveted trophy pin, and we'll do that when we return. Hey, it's me, Coach Randy, with exciting news about a new way you can help support Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Over the past couple of years, we've had a number of Prodigy fans say they'd love to offer something in payment for the Prodigy content seen each week on YouTube throughout the bowling season. Well, I'm pleased to announce that Prodigy is now on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Now, in case you're not familiar with it, Patreon is a platform where YouTube content consumers like you can connect directly with YouTube content creators like me and pledge a small amount of money each month to support the work that goes into creating the content that you enjoy watching. It's based on the age-old concept of patrons. About 30 to 40 hours of work goes into the production of each and every episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. So if you enjoy the content on Prodigy Bowlers Tour each week and you'd like to support the show, please check it out at patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour. There are 4 affordable subscription tiers, and each one offers a different reward, up to and including sneak peeks of shows before they're released to the public, exclusive behind-the-scenes content that only members will ever see, and there's even a tier that will enable you to get all that and get your name in the credits each week as a producer of the show. You'll be helping me to be able to continue making the show each week and even reinvest some of the money into improving the show going forward. Thanks for checking it out, and thanks for supporting Prodigy Bowlers Tour.
Hey, why don't you let loose? Let loose. Go bowling, bowling this weekend. Have fun. Go bowling, bowling this weekend.
Let loose at Valley Bowl. Take the Valley Highway or Academy exit to security.
As we wrap up the 2019 Bowlero Roswell All-Star Varsity Tournament of Champions, here are the scores for everyone in the field. Now we take one last look at the stepladder final results, as the championship match in the varsity was a real nail-biter, and I suspect Jake may be reliving it in his head from now until next year's event. But congratulations to all our finalists. Once again, here are the final standings in this year's tournament. This includes everyone who bowled in the event. And finally, there's one last bit of business. In addition to the Smart Scholarship Awards our finalists will receive, and on top of those awesome trophies that the winners get to keep, both of our champions also get to sign the Prodigy Bowlers Tour coveted trophy pin. This is a familiar ritual for Rowan, but it's John's first time. Plus, it makes him eligible for our second annual Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions on June 22nd at AMF Woodstock, where we'll award the coveted trophy pin to one winner in the mother of all stepladders. So that's it today from Bowlero Roswell, where Rowan Sautner and John Schlick are the champions of the 2019 All-Star Varsity Tournament of Champions. We're off next week. We'll see you next time from Bowlero Lilburn at the 2019 GYBT Tournament of Champions, which we'll record on June 2nd. Peace.